The day I got caught by my dad while on a date with a girl is one I'll always remember. It started out as a simple plan. I was excited to take her to a new ice cream shop in town that everyone had been raving about. We had been looking forward to this outing all week, ready to enjoy each other's company and indulge in our favorite flavors. As we arrived at the shop, we found a cozy spot outside where we could sit and enjoy the sunshine. We laughed, shared stories, and savored our ice cream, completely lost in our own little world. She had chosen chocolate fudge, while I went for the classic vanilla with sprinkles. Everything felt perfect. Then, as we were joking about which ice cream flavor best represented our personalities, I noticed a familiar figure walking towards us. My heart dropped as I recognized my dad, oblivious to the situation. He had come to the shop to grab a quick treat for himself, and I was suddenly filled with dread. How could I explain this? In a moment of panic, I leaned closer to her and whispered, "My dad is here. We have to act normal." She chuckled nervously, but nodded in agreement. We both tried to continue our conversation, but the tension in the air was palpable. My dad, unaware of what was happening, approached us with a friendly smile. "Hey son, enjoying some ice cream?" he asked, looking genuinely curious. I could feel the heat rising in my cheeks as I fumbled for words. Yeah, just hanging out," I replied, trying to keep my tone casual. She gave me an encouraging smile, but I could tell she was just as nervous. My dad looked at her and then back at me, raising an eyebrow. "So, who's your friend?" he inquired. The way he said it made it clear he was trying to piece together what was happening. I took a deep breath and decided to be honest. "This is a girl I'm dating." The silence that followed felt heavy. My dad's expression shifted, and I could see a mix of surprise and concern on his face. "Oh, really? I didn't know you were seeing someone seriously," he said, trying to mask his surprise. I could sense the protective instinct kicking in as he assessed the situation. "Yeah, Dad, we've been hanging out for a while now," I replied, feeling a surge of confidence. "She's amazing." I glanced at her, who smiled back at me, clearly relieved that I was standing my ground. My dad took a moment, then nodded slowly. "Just be careful, okay? I want you to be happy, but I also want you to make smart choices." His tone softened, and I could tell he genuinely cared. It was a reassuring moment that diffused the tension. As he waved goodbye and walked away, I turned to her, feeling a rush of adrenaline. "Well, that was intense," I laughed, feeling the weight lift off my shoulders. She giggled, and we both knew that despite the awkward encounter, it had brought us closer together. We finished our ice cream, sharing our thoughts about the day. I realized that getting caught by my dad hadn't been the disaster I had anticipated. Instead, it was a reminder that love comes with its own set of challenges, and with each challenge, I grew more confident in my feelings for her. It was a moment I would cherish, knowing I had stood up for what mattered most to me. After my dad left, the ice cream shop felt lighter, almost like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. We resumed our conversation, and I could sense a deeper connection forming between us. "That was unexpected," she said with a laugh, her eyes sparkling. "I didn't think I would meet your dad on our first date." I smiled back, relieved that she took it in stride. "Yeah, I wasn't exactly prepared for that either, but honestly, I'm glad he knows about us now. It feels like I can finally be open about how I feel." As we finished our ice cream, I noticed how effortlessly we were talking. It was easy to share stories, dreams, and even a few embarrassing moments from my childhood. The initial awkwardness had melted away, and what remained was a genuine connection. After leaving the shop, we decided to take a stroll through the nearby park. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm glow over everything. We walked side by side, our hands brushing against each other, creating a thrill that sent butterflies racing in my stomach. We came upon a tiny pond with ducks swimming idly as we were exploring. She recommended that we take in the view from a nearby bench. I took a big breath as I sat there, appreciating the moment. I couldn't help but notice how stunning she was in the golden light, and it was serene. I turned to her and said, "I'm really happy we did this. With you, I feel like I can be myself." She leaned in a little as her smile grew. "I have the same sentiments. Being with someone who is sincere is refreshing." I realized then that this date had become something important. It was about connecting with someone who genuinely understood me, not just about the immediate thrill. I took a gamble and softly reached for her hand as the sun began to set. I was relieved when she perfectly fit her fingers with mine. With my heart pounding, I confessed, "I know things got a little crazy earlier with my dad, but I want you to know that I really like you." Her eyes were steady and genuine as she met mine. "I also like you. We have something very amazing here, in my opinion." I only needed to hear that. I felt brave enough to lean in and give her a gentle kiss. Everything seemed to have come together, and it felt perfect. Only the warmth of our relationship remained. When the day's tumult vanished, we retreated, and I couldn't stop smiling. I joked, "I swear there won't be any more surprises," and she laughed, bringing joy to the room. We resumed our date, laughing, dreaming together, and looking forward to future times like this. I was filled with enthusiasm and anticipation for what the future would bring us as I departed that day. I was reminded of the value of being open and honest in love by my dad's discovery, which had ended up being a blessing in disguise. I should have been more careful. I should have paid more attention, been more aware of my surroundings, at least checked behind me before doing something reckless. But when you're young and in love, logic doesn't always win, and that's exactly how I ended up in the most awkward, terrifying, life-altering moment of my life, getting caught by my dad while on a date. She wasn't just any girl. She was the girl, the one I couldn't stop thinking about, the one who made my heart race every time she looked at me. The problem, my dad had no idea we were dating. It wasn't that he would have forbidden it, but he was strict, very strict, and he had this whole focus on your future, not on girls mentality that made dating feel like a crime. So we kept it quiet. Secret phone calls, quick, stolen moments when no one was watching, and dates that required maximum stealth. Everything had been going smoothly until that night. I scrambled to say something, anything that would make this less horrible than it already was. "Dad, I was just, he raised an eyebrow, waiting. My girlfriend, bless her, tried to be polite. "Hello, sir," she said softly, offering a nervous smile. He didn't even blink. "I didn't know you had time for dating," he said, his voice calm, but way too calm. I knew that tone. It was the, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed" tone, which, let's be honest, is 10 times worse. I tried to explain. "Dad, it's not what it looks like." He glanced at the table, our untouched drinks, the way we were leaning toward each other, the way my hand was still resting way too close to hers. Then he looked back at me. "Oh, so what does it look like?" I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. I had nothing. The worst part, he didn't cause a scene. He didn't yell. He just gave me that look. The one that said, "We're talking about this later." Then he turned to my girlfriend. "It was nice meeting you, but I think my son and I need to have a conversation." And just like that, he walked away. I sat there frozen, knowing my life was about to end. My girlfriend reached across the table, giving my hand a squeeze. "Well, that could have gone worse," she offered. I groaned, rubbing my face. No, it really couldn't have. Because I already knew, when I got home, I was in for the longest, most awkward, most humiliating conversation of my life. and there was nothing I could do to stop it. We headed to the Ferris wheel, as the festival was coming to a conclusion, which was the ideal way to cap off the evening. As we ascended higher, the festival lights glowed underneath us. Her voice was full with joy as she remarked, "I love how beautiful everything looks from up here." Observing her joy, I looked at her and said, "It really is, like right now. I'm very happy that we came here together." As we got to the top, I leaned in and took her hand. "May I give you a kiss?" I wanted to make sure she was at ease, so I inquired. I leaned in, and we gently kissed, as she grinned and nodded slightly. It was a tender, lovely kiss that felt perfect. I could see the red rising in her cheeks as we withdrew. "That was pleasant," she remarked, her smile growing even wider. "Yes, it was," I replied, experiencing a surge of warmth. Everything around us vanished in that instant, leaving only the two of us to share a genuine experience. We giggled together while sharing a fluffy pink cloud at a food station that sold cotton candy after the ride. It was effortless, light-hearted, and instinctive. As we began to leave, I told her, "I had a great time tonight." "I'm so excited to see you again," she said, her eyes glistening. "Me too. We should arrange another date shortly. I would like going on more adventures with you." As we walked to our cars, I felt a sense of excitement for what the future held. This was just the beginning of our journey together, and I was ready to embrace every moment of it. We said our goodbyes, and as I drove home, I couldn't help but smile, thinking about how lucky I was to have met her. I realized that this date wasn't just about having fun, it was about discovering a potential love that could grow into something truly special.